Good morning from WKYT News. I'm Bill Bryant. We welcome you to Kentucky Newsmakers. Later, WKYT investigative reporter Miranda Combs will join me to talk about what she's been looking into this summer. That includes trouble for some community water systems, the incredible problem of drugs in jails, and how the state is trying to help foster kids get jobs after they have aged out of the system. Miranda with us later. But first, it's a big summer at Bluegrass Airport. Despite tough competition for flights because of fewer airlines and options, Lexington's airport has added 3 destinations. The airport's executive director, Frankl, is here with us to talk about that. We also want to discuss security at a time of heightened concerns around the world. In an election year, what challenges do high-profile arrivals like that of Donald Trump's visit next week bring? And in now more than 7 years on the job, Frankl has worked hard to restore the image and financial integrity of the airport. Frankl joining us today. Thanks for coming. Appreciate it very much.
My pleasure. It's a lot more fun today than it was 7 years ago.
Well, I'm sure that's true. We were talking about that, and you said a lot of checks and balances have been put in, and at this point, you feel that there's a tremendous integrity in the operations at the airport.
I absolutely do, and more important than me, I think the board has a lot of confidence in the systems that they put in place and to prevent those type of things from ever happening again.
Bluegrass Airport now offers flights to 18 destinations. That includes 3 new ones that you announced this summer. How are those going so far?
Real well. I got to tell you, and as we spoke even preparing for this interview, it just is I'm still shocked and kind of blown away about the service that we have in our community. And I know it'll never be everything to everybody, but for a population our size, we are doing really, really well. And adding these 3 flights when so many communities have lost service over the last year or two, we certainly feel blessed, and we're going to do everything we can to make them successful.
Let's talk about those. It is Newark, which is just outside of New York City. Let's talk about that, the appeal of that flight.
That was United Airlines was providing that flight, and United currently serves Chicago and Houston. So if you were going eastbound, or certainly to the Northeast, and even internationally to Europe, this is a much better flight for that option. So we were really happy to start it. We've had it before. We had it years ago. They had some issues with some delays. We hope that they're over that. So we're excited about having that one.
A direct to Baltimore, Washington International Airport now. And what does that add?
And Baltimore was a little bit of a surprise for us, to be honest with you. It's not typically Allegiant's providing that service, and this is, I think, we're kind of a test market, honestly, for that. We think it'll do well for the leisure travelers that want to go to D.C. and school groups and historians and those type of folks. So far, it's been doing really well. It's only seasonal, so it'll be done over the summer, and hopefully they'll bring it back next year. And
then the other one is more typical of Allegiant's destinations, a vacation area, Hilton Head in Savannah.
Yeah, we were very happy with that because we knew we had a lot of folks here locally that go to Savannah or the Hilton Head area regularly throughout the year. We think that'll be a success, and I'd be shocked if it wasn't.
How do you pull off new destinations at a time when other airports are having a tremendous difficulty, even losing flights, and there is so much consolidation within the airline industry?
There's no question. It is really, really challenging. And first of all, I got to give credit to our board who creates the environment where we can be successful. We run the operation. We try to run the operation efficiently so we can attract airlines, because obviously they have to pay to be there. And then we provide incentives to hopefully get them over the hump. And our board has really done a lot over the last several years to prepare the environment so that we can be successful. In the end, I mean, this is really determined somewhat by the airlines, and the consumer ultimately, whether they respond to the product, whether they're willing to pay the fares, to go to those destinations. So I say, the airport we're not really responsible for the success or the failure of a city, and only the consumer can decide that, but we can create the environment to at least start it, and I think we've done that.
What would you say your mix of travelers is at Bluegrass Airport? Mostly vacationers, mostly business travel?
I think that's a great question, and we debate this internally as well, because I think it's changed over the years. I mean, Allegiant now provides about 22% of our traffic, and you presume that those are all leisure, generally speaking. So we think the market may be 60 business, 40 leisure. It's hard to say, but we think that's a good ballpark.
Do you go to the airlines to make your case about Lexington and Bluegrass Airport?
Oh, yes. We meet with all of the airlines, even the airlines that we don't currently have. We always try to touch base and see if there's any opportunities. I think for Lexington, that's getting to be tougher because we only have such a population size that can support air service. So there's some other areas that we have an interest in, but we always have to be careful about robbing Peter to pay Paul. You know, we're serving 18 cities, and again, we kind of analyze this. For a population our size, we probably have more direct service than any place I can think of in the country for a population our size.
What do you tell them when you make your case? I mean, for one thing, I would think you would point out that Lexington operates as a fairly large market. You're basically the only airport for central, southern, eastern Kentucky.
Exactly, and I think people, I mean, the airlines might not fully understand or appreciate that without you telling them that. They don't look at every single city and talk, you know, determine the pros and cons. So you kind of have to bring that to them, and I think they're surprised. We believe we have basically a 56 county area, and certainly we'll lose folks to Cincinnati and Louisville, and we'll gain some from Cincinnati and Louisville. But to the south and to the east of us, we think we're the airport of choice.
What do the airlines want to be promised? You said there were incentives.
Yeah, I think they want to start out and at least have the best chance for financial success. So if we can mitigate some of their operating costs on the front end when they first start service, provide some advertising dollars to get, you know, the product out there, that helps them. In the end, they're going to determine, you know, whether they can charge the fares and fill the plane up based on those fares. And they won't really know that until they get in a market and test drive it.
If you could get an additional carrier here, do you have your eyes on one that would be potentially a good fit in Lexington?
Yes. The only reason I hesitate is I hesitate to tell my competitors who I'm thinking about.
Right.
But there's certainly a lot fewer airlines, as you know. I mean, there's been so much consolidation, mergers and acquisitions. There are some carriers that have aircraft that don't fit for our market. And if you take those out, there's not very many options left. And JetBlue would be one that would be left that we think we could support, particularly going to the Northeast. But they're nowhere in the middle part of the country. Even the large airports don't have JetBlue, so it's going to be a tough row. I think we need to focus on, first of all, maintaining what we have, making sure that they're successful, and then working with our carriers that we have now and to expand their route system, just like United just did.
And Southwest has generally said that they serve Louisville, and that serves the Kentucky market. Is how they is what they've told you to this point,
correct,
right?
Yes.
But I'm sure that's one you may knock on their door occasionally.
We certainly still talk to them.
Is there a nonstop destination that you would like to have?
Yes, but here again, I'm a little very fearful now that if we're successful getting a nonstop, particularly to the west, it may hurt some of our westbound traffic already. We have Dallas service and Houston service and even Chicago. But I wish we could get to that Denver market. It's a little too far for the aircraft size that would probably accommodate our community, but that would be a really good niche to get to. And but we have to be concerned that if we are successful, that may draw from some of those other cities and make them less successful.
Would it ever be feasible to run a small regional carrier that could get people around, even, you know, Kentucky, Tennessee, some nearby places? Back in the old days, you had a lot of that.
Yeah, but regulations have changed, requirements have changed. I mean, it's not really feasible, to be honest. And you'd have to have such a large market, not only so if it was Lexington to, you know, anywhere in southern Kentucky, you'd have to a large market either way, both ways, to make that work. And the right aircraft with the fuel prices today, it's just really difficult to make that work.
Well, it's very interesting. I want to talk to you about security, airport security. We'll do that, and about the future of Bluegrass Airport. And then Miranda Combs is with us a little bit later on to talk about the investigation she has underway. WKYT's Kentucky Newsmakers. We'll be right back. Welcome back into WKYT's Kentucky Newsmakers as we visit with Eric Frankl, who is Executive Director out at Bluegrass Airport, and been there 7.5 years. We were talking about that. Time flies, right? These are very interesting times and challenging times around the world. Airport security, obviously a concern with terrorism, yet shorter lines have always been a lure at Bluegrass Airport. How do you balance security and convenience?
Boy, that's a great question, mainly because it's in the eye of the beholder. And what I would say, you know, we have less of those problems in Lexington, but we do have times, and I'm sure some of our customers get frustrated at times, particularly in the early morning, some of the peak hours where there's a longer line. And we really, really try. I got to give TSA here locally credit. They get it. They are trying to balance, but they're going to lean obviously towards security, and we all should lean towards that. But I think we've done a pretty good job by and large. I think there are things that people can do to help themselves, such as pre-check. You may be familiar with that, and that could allow expedited screening if they qualify for that. And I think we encourage people to do that.
Are you sometimes surprised by items that are removed from passengers?
No, not anymore. Only in this sense. I think sometimes it's completely innocent and they just forget, or they don't know it, they don't travel very often and they don't understand. Those type of scenarios are by far the most. Very rarely do we have somebody with the intent of doing harm that tries to sneak anything through.
How difficult is it to screen everybody in the way they need to be screened? Because some of them are going to continue on to an international flight, right?
Right. Well, what I would say is there are a fair amount of mechanisms that the public doesn't see, other levels of security, other levels of screening that we do. But at the main checkpoint, it's difficult. I think we've really tightened that up. It's very difficult to get any type of weapon that could do harm in any way through that checkpoint. It doesn't mean there's no such thing as 100% foolproof, but I think we've really tightened it down pretty significantly, and which unfortunately leads to those lines, which now unfortunately becomes a threat in and of itself pre-security, and that's the next challenge that we're concerned about.
When you have an event like the Donald Trump fundraiser that is going to be held, it's both an arrival and a departure of a high-profile person, and then the event will be basically on site for you. How does that impact operations?
It definitely impacts operations with Secret Service, and they have their own protocols. Obviously, we work with them significantly prior to these events, but even obviously in association with the event itself. We have a relatively small airport, as you know, and so it's a little more challenging for us, but we've determined the best way to operate, the best way for the aircraft to operate, the best way for the aircraft to park. And we've done that all consistent with their security protocols. And I think we've refined the system now over the years that we're better prepared for it.
Other employers tell us it is difficult to find applicants who can pass the drug screenings, who are capable of understanding all of the rules and be able to meet that. Are you having those challenges?
We do, and not only for the airport, of course, we have our own employees, and they range from all different types of employees, building maintenance and field maintenance and public safety officers and so forth, but with the airlines too. And there's certainly all those challenges that I think a lot of the local businesses have that I'm completely sympathetic to. We have additional challenges, and because of the security protocol that you have to pass to work at the airport. So it definitely makes it a challenge for us, and I'm concerned not only for the airport, but our community in general, about making sure that we can continue to have employees that meet all kinds of tests and pass and be able to be actively employed.
This summer, August 27th, marks the 10-year anniversary of the crash of the Comair Flight 5191. How is that going to be observed?
Well, 5191 Commission, as you know, they basically organize these events, and they're going to have one this year at the Arboretum on that day. We will participate kind of in the background. It's really their event. It's for the families, and this is the 10th year anniversary, so this is sort of a significant milestone. We're going to do our part to support them in any way we can, and we look forward to that. The
accident led to lots of changes at the airport. 10 years later, do you still learn from that?
I think the industry still has learned from it, and there is a lot of, most of the changes that were put in place, again, the consumer doesn't see. We've relocated a runway. We've made some changes to make it less likely to occur, but most of the changes that have occurred in our industry overall, and that's the great thing about our industry, everybody learns from these unfortunate accidents, whether you're in Lexington or not, and a lot of those lessons learned throughout every airport has been implemented throughout every airport in the country now.
How does the future look at Bluegrass Airport?
We're excited. We've had a great couple of years. We're going to have a record year this year, and obviously the amount of service that we have, we're going to try to hold on to, and we're grateful for that, and we feel really, really blessed to have the service that we have. I think we want to talk about now how to sustain it, and then to make some improvements on the airport that, again, the consumers don't see, but make a difference to the operation, how efficiently we operate, so that we can continue to keep our costs low and be able to attract service.
You feel like long-term that will be where the airport is? There was some talk some years ago of maybe relocating closer to an interstate, a bigger property where you could expand.
Yeah, I mean, that was slightly before I got here, but that conversation has still gone on since I've been here over the last 7 years, on and off, as you know. And I just think it's not very practical. As much as the location is challenging for a number of reasons where we are, it's really not practical. It's a $200 to $300 million facility. To relocate would be very difficult to do. So I think, though, we are making the best of that facility that we are. We are maximizing the value of that property for our community, and frankly, there hasn't been an aircraft that we haven't been able to accommodate, or an activity we haven't been able to accommodate so far. So,
and as you note, you lure in some travelers from Cincinnati and Louisville, so
and we're happy about that.
Something's working. Thanks for coming. We appreciate it very much. Eric Frankl with the Bluegrass Airport. In just a moment, our investigative reporter Miranda Combs talks about what she's working on this summer. We're back on Kentucky Newsmakers in a moment. Welcome back, and it's so good to have you with us on WKYT's Kentucky Newsmakers. WKYT's Miranda Combs heads up investigations for our news organization. This has been a busy summer. She's been looking at lots of topics. And Miranda, also, you covered the police beat for many years at WKYT. And so we're getting some reaction to those killings of police officers in Dallas. Just a horrible scenario, certainly, that is also quite a complicated story.
It is a complicated story, but one thing stays the same. It's from everyone I talked to this morning, former police officers here in Lexington. It doesn't matter where they are. They're one big brotherhood. And, you know, one police officer I talked to who was on the force here in Lexington for 25 years says, my stomach hurt all night. I worried about the families. You worry about everything, that it could have been you. It could have been someone that you do know, and they do feel like they all know each other. It's a very tight-knit family.
Difficult these days to hire people who want to do these jobs, isn't it?
Absolutely, and as you know, pay a lot of time is the issue, because you're doing such a job that is so dangerous, and every day they just don't know what they're going to get into. So yes, very hard to find good qualified police officers. And
the training obviously is adjusted as things come up, as has been the case in that led to the protests in Dallas.
You may remember we did the story last year, I believe, on Shoot or Don't Shoot, which was a very eye-opening experience for us to see how difficult it is to make those calls at the last minute of whether you shoot or don't shoot.
Well, and there's a lot to be sorted out in the days to come. Again, you have been busy with lots of investigations. Danville, they have a water issue that affects other communities because they sell water to other communities.
Right.
And it has something to do with that still water is more difficult to purify than if it's running water.
Right. Might not have realized this. 95% of Kentuckians get their water from surface water. Danville gets it from Lake Harrington. Danville also sells their water to other districts, and this came to our attention because one of those districts, the Parksville Water Department, they got on their bill a warning saying if you're elderly, if you're pregnant, if you have infants, then you need to talk to your doctor before you drink this water, which can be startling to get in the mail if you even read your water bill, which we found out from a lot of people there in Parksville. They didn't even know about it. But basically, this is something that's not just happening in Danville and in Parksville. It's happening all over the state. In fact, there are 409 public water systems in Kentucky. 70 of them are right now in violation for this haloacidic acid. It's a new rule, but it happens a lot because it's coming from surface water. It's a byproduct disinfectant. Goes over your head to talk about it exactly, but basically what it means is if you're coming from surface water, then you can get a higher level of this, and the new rules from the EPA are very hard to meet this standard. And so it was interesting to start with one bill, and it actually turned into a story that affected the entire state.
Does anybody go so far as to say that the water source should be different if you have, if the still water has those issues?
Well, we were actually in Winchester, ironically, yesterday on a different story, and I actually talked to the water superintendent there, and he said for a while they had been taking it from the river. They switched to a lake, and they wanted to switch back to the river because that was better for them in regard to this haloacidic acid. So maybe some questions, but that's probably not a good solution.
There are always, issues. With one, the concern with the radioactive waste in Estill County, and some have now raised issues about potentially runoff into the Kentucky River with that. So really, water is a big issue.
A lot for the Energy Environment Cabinet right now, yes.
Right, they're busy. All right, another major issue in Kentucky, and we know this, drugs in jail, drugs in society overall, just a huge issue. But drugs in jail, we don't have enough money to get treatment for people who have addictions in our state. Those who have those issues end up in jail instead of treatment, therefore. And then a lot of drugs end up in the facilities.
Well, and that shocked me. In Pulaski County, which was one of the jails we went to, they said more than 95% of the inmates in the jail right now are in there on drug charges. That's how big of a problem it is there. Now, at that facility, they've started a treatment program. They call it a reconation therapy, where they teach people new skill sets and how to time manage, because they think, while we've got them in there sober, let's teach them how to live better. And we were actually able to go into one of these classes with them, and it was interesting that everybody had the same story. Everybody was put in jail. They've got 4-month-old babies that they left and won't get out until the kid is 2 years old. They're all taking the time to look back on the mistakes they've made and hopefully move forward. But now that's a self-funded program there in Pulaski County that they've hired on a counselor to help take care of this. That's an inside the facility issue they're dealing with. And also, I'll say, in Pulaski County, they told me a couple of years ago, you were dealing with drugs being dealt inside the cells. It was so bad, and people going out on work release and bringing the drugs back in. So it's a big problem that they've somewhat gotten control of. Go to Fayette County Detention Center and they'll tell you, the jailer there will tell you right off the bat, this is a problem that will never go away. We can suppress it, but we can never eradicate it. And there's Fayette County Jail right there. They're doing something interesting. They're actually bringing in Metro Police and their drug dog on a random basis, and you can see the video of the drug dog going through the cells. They bring the inmates out with no warning, take the dog in, and the dog is able to go and identify places where they sense the odor of drugs. And he hit on a couple of places, didn't find any drugs, but again, they're looking for the odor, so it may have been there at one time. But this has been a great partnership for them, that the jailer says they're one of the first jails in the state to be doing this right now. But hopefully it's something that will catch on with other jails, because it's very effective and a very good sign for the inmates. Hey, don't mess around. We've got these dogs that are going to come in, and you're not going to know when they're coming.
Well, a lot of localities are just trying to find their way. And over in Madison County, they're talking about having to build a new facility, and they say that it has to be a jail, it has to also offer treatment facilities, and it is going to be enormously expensive to build. And they're just saying, how do we get the money to do it? And you know, it's raise taxes, or it's take from other programs, or what do you do? At
the same time, I mean, how crowded is that jail? Typically, we're talking about 200-300 people over capacity at that Madison County Jail, so something has to be done. And I like what they say about, while they're in there, let's get them treated. While they're sober, while we have them, let's try to get them back on the right track.
Governor Bevin has pushed this issue because, again, we have so many children who have been removed from the homes, often because of the drug epidemic, but children who grow up in foster care and then age out of the system. Then they go to look for a job, or they go to find their way, you know, to college or what have you. And Governor Bevin has said, you know, these are people who need some continued assistance.
I thought it was interesting. The commissioner actually said, we've been their guardians this long. Why would we just give up on them as soon as they mature out of the system? So this is something I think the state is very proud of. It's also changing a lot still. There's a lot of potential there. They're wanting other businesses to get involved, but what they're doing is they're allowing children that have aged out of, or I guess they wouldn't be children anymore, but people that have aged out of the foster care system to get internships is pretty much what it's like, for 10 weeks, but they're paid and they work for the Department of Community-Based Services in different aspects and do a lot of the internship-like work for those departments. But the interesting thing was, we talked to one student that is going through this program, and a lot of them want to give back to the program. It was their parents growing up, so, and they want to be involved in that, and they want to be in social work. So this was a chance for her to get on the right track at least and start into that career path. So they're hoping that this will grow. It'll be more than 10 weeks at some point, and it can be more permanent for these youngsters moving forward.
We're going to have some answers, you know, to the long-term issues.
And I wanted to mention another story on that same token that's coming up. There is a direct link, you know how I talk about the drug stories a lot, between foster the foster program and how many kids are in the foster system and the drug epidemic. So that's a story we've got coming up in the next couple of weeks.
And how do you determine what you're going to look into? It just keeps coming, doesn't it? I mean,
well, the water story was a good example of, hey, this is something that I would be worried about if I got a bill in the mail like that. So we try to do things that are going to affect more people than just us, but also affect the community and the people around us. So it's tough, and you have to. It's tough.
A lot of folks, though, send you suggestions,
yes,
and you welcome those.
We
right?
welcome suggestions,
yeah.
yes.
And you look into that. Miranda, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Always busy, and a lot going on as WKYT investigates lots of matters throughout our viewing area. We want to thank you for joining us for this edition of Kentucky Newsmakers. Remind you, we'll be here bright and early this week for WKYT This Morning. We start at 4:30 a.m. and, of course, for mid-morning at 10 and on WKYT News at noon. Continuous updates at WKYT.com, and follow me at KY Newsmakers on Twitter for some political updates and more. Have a good week ahead.